September in Reykjavik and the highlight of the motorsport year for Iceland. The Ljoma rally is being held for the 6th year with an entry list of 28, including 3 from Finland and 2 from Great Britain. It's being backed by a wide range of Icelandic companies, including the national airline Icelandair and Esso, a sign of the recognition rallying now has just south of the Arctic Circle. As the cars gather at the start of the 4-day event, which takes in some of the roughest public roads in Europe, the favourite, Finn Peter Gytel, is hoping for better luck this year in his Nissan 240 RS.
This is a rally where you have to drive very carefully, of course, but you should still be quick. And now they have left the worst river sections away, so we are more hopeful.
His biggest challenge is expected to come from Englishman Chris Lord and his ex-works Audi Quattro, making its first appearance in Iceland.
I'm with a foreign co-driver, so there's obviously a slight language barrier. I don't think he understands me. So again, I think tonight has got to be a little bit about learning about each other and remembering about the car. I think if I can come on back here in 3 or 4 hours' time in sort of top 3 place, I'll be quite happy.
First away from the start is Gytel's Nissan. And on the first stage in Reykjavik itself, he sets the pace. He's soon flying through the rest of the evening special stages to finish the first leg more than a minute ahead of second place Saku Virema, also of Finland. He's in Iceland for the first time and he's determined in his Opel Manta to keep up the pressure on his countrymen. The Quattro gets off to a slow start and a short rally too for Eiríkur Fridriksson with gearbox failure on the first stage. Hoping to do well, Ríkharður Kristinsson has been third twice in the past, but he has early problems and loses 5 minutes on the stage at Reykjanes. Bjarmi Sigurgardsen in a Talbot Lotus was runner-up last year, but finishes the first leg in 7th place. And in the Toyota Corolla, Thorsten Ingesson, who won the Husavik rally in the summer, starts well and ends in 5th place by the first evening. Þórhallur Kristjánsson is off to a steady start in his Talbot Lotus, while in his Ford Escort, Ólafur Sigurjónsson begins cautiously as a newcomer. Other beginners are Gudmundur and Sæmundur Johnson in four-wheel drive Subaru, but the smallest car is the Trabant, just 50 horsepower two-stroke, and at the wheel, Wern Ingolfsson. By nightfall, the sharp rocks of the southeastern coast are difficult to spot. John Ragnarsson is going well in his Ford Escort, finishing the first leg in 4th place, driving with a broken wrist. Flying through the early stages, the Opel Cadet of Daniel Gunnarsson, while retirement was just around the corner for the Colt Lancer of Sigmar Gunnarsson. He left the road and struck a large rock which ended any chances of returning to the rally. Ardnar Tyrdarsson exploded a tyre but continued to end the first night. Dawn in the heart of the national park, and the Opel takes the lead after the dramatic retirement of Gytel with a broken gearbox, but the Audi Quattro is pushing hard. Chris Lord anxious not to make a mistake at such an early point in the rally in foreign surroundings. John Ragnarsson, though, is quickening his pace as the second day begins, while Thorstein Ingesson steadily improves on his first day's work. But ahead lies a full day's rallying, and it's still only just after 8 on a frosty Icelandic morning as the cars head through the stage which takes in part of the island's protected national park. Later in the morning, the Opel is still ahead, with the Quattro chasing hard ahead of the rest of the field as the rally moves north into the snow-covered Highlands. But the big worry for the drivers is the fearful cooler stage, 90 kilometres in each direction through some of the wildest territory in Iceland. Sandwiched between two glaciers, it's a wilderness, and even the hardiest of travellers, like these herdsmen gathering in the sheep before winter, need to take on supplies. While around them are the trappings of modern transport, the oldest way to travel is for them the best. Bjarmi Sigurdsson, meanwhile, is being cautious.
It's very rough, but it's not finished. It's not yet, and we drove very slow up to here, and we're gonna go faster later on today, and tomorrow I'll drive flat out.
And the snow caught out Chris Lord.
It was very unexpected, and we elected to run on very wide tyres for tyre wear. I mean, normally we would get something like about 30 miles of stages to a set of tyres. The tyres we're using are safari compounds, so they're rock hard, and they're very, very wide. They're 7-inch rims. So obviously on snow and ice, you know, if you'd have said which is the most unsuitable tyre, this has got to be a prime candidate for it, even in a quattro.
A problem too for the leader, Virema.
Yes, but we have not good tyres. It's not snow tires, but it's...
So you go back now, that same stage?
Yes, but a little bit slowly.
The service halt at the top of the stage and the hot springs provide relief from the bitter cold, but not for Ragnarsson.
I've not driven so many times, just it is the third time I've taken part in rally with some drivers. I've always been co-driver before, and I have some problem in my hand, left hand,
yes,
so I'm happy with this.
Is the wrist okay?
Yes, I think it's okay. But I must make on it when I am driving. I'll take it off now to give time to.
Having travelled the 90 kilometres up the stage, the cars turn round and return down the valley. It's a spectacular location, but every bend is treacherous. Lord comes to grief with 3 punctures and only 2 spare tyres and drops out. The Opel keeps a clear lead to end the second day 8 minutes ahead. But Ingersson has moved up to 4th place. And Sigurdsson and Ragnarsson are chasing each other, but the latter holds a 2-minute advantage. The third day, and in the shadow of Volcano Hekla, the Opel continues to hold the lead, but the early morning Icelandic sun provides an extra hazard for the drivers. The sun isn't the only obstacle. The Ljoma rally is notorious for its river crossings, about 60 throughout the course of the event, and each one different in how it should be tackled. John Ragnarsson is blinded by the low sun as he heads for his river crossing, and on this September morning the river is partly frozen, making the crossing even more difficult. Thorstein Ingersson is holding on to his 4th position with some aggressive driving. But in the other Toyota Corolla, Ricky Christensen is not far behind and chasing hard. He tackles the river in forceful style to head with the rest of the remaining 15 cars into the southern Highlands. Vera Mazopol is still leading the way through some of the most dramatic scenery in Iceland. By the lunchtime service halt, Virama has eased off with a satisfactory lead.
I'm driving about 60% now because we have too much time behind me.
And Ragnarsson too doesn't want to take any chances.
I cannot drive as fast as the Opel. No question about that.
What sort of lead do you have over third place?
I think I have maybe 15 minutes. So there's no question about... I will not take no chance because then I maybe crash the car and everything's out.
A nice smooth drive now.
Yes, I think so.
Ricky Christensen has had problems of his own.
I drive on the water and carburetor froze, and I drive on the keys and lost 3 minutes.
The repairs completed, the crews head back on the return leg to Reykjavik through the biggest lava field in the world south of the Vatnajökull glacier. Towards evening on the third day, John Ragnarsson was going well in his escort in second place, but trouble was just around the corner. He admitted he became overconfident, spun his car and wedged it in the stage between two high banks. Not only was he stuck, so too was the Talbot of Christensen and the escort of Sigurd Johnson. The crews eventually cleared the road by lifting the car out of the way, and he was off again, but it gave the Opel a commanding lead. The final morning, and for the 12 remaining cars, it's a case of a steady drive to the finish. Ricky Christensen was third with Olafur Sigurd Johnson 4 minutes behind. Christensen took the Talbot to 5th place with Scotsman McKechnie's Talbot 6th. The little Subaru managed 7th place more than half an hour later, while the ladder sport of Jensen was just 40 seconds later. The all-girl team from Finland were 9th. Thorthor Thormundsson's Lancer came home in 10th position, with Helga Johansdottir 11th in the four-wheel drive Toyota. And bringing up the rear as it had throughout the event, the tiny Trabant of Wern Ingolfsson, 1.5 hours later. But at the finish, the honours went to the first Icelandic crew, John Ragnarsson and son Runar, celebrating his birthday in the escort, who was second. And with a clear win of 8.5 minutes, Saku Virama and co-driver Tapio Ertuvara. But not for them the traditional champagne, instead a celebration drink of nothing stronger than fresh orange juice.